Today we're going to do chest release. Excellent exercise, opening up the front of the shoulder and chest and improving your posture. It's great for thoracic rotation as well. That's your rib cage rotating. So we're going to lie on our side, and if you're lying against a wall, which I don't want you to, but if you were, the back of your head, shoulders, hips and heels would all be touching the wall. We're going to support the head for the first couple of repetitions, but we're always looking to get our perfect posture first. So let's lengthen through the crown of the head. Find your neutral pelvis, so I'm not tipping water out of the back of the bowl or the front. I'm engaging my corset muscles, so I'm lifting up through pelvic floor, and I'm feeling that feeling of space between the side of the waist and the mat as I tighten my belt up one notch. For the first couple of reps, I'm going to breathe in as the elbow comes to vertical and breathe out as I rotate my rib cage backwards, keeping my hips and legs nice and still. I'll breathe in as I come back to vertical and breathe out as I come back to the floor. So I usually like to guide the head for the first couple to make sure it stays in excellent alignment with the rest of my spine. And sometimes I think of a broomstick handle running down my spine, touching the back of my head, between my shoulder blades, touching my spine and touching my tailbone. And I'm going to rotate the rib cage around that broomstick handle. Now, a couple of technique points. The shoulder I'm lying on. I'm lying more on the beefy part of the shoulder. I'm not lying down like so. I'm not having this shoulder right up under my ear. So I'm lying on the deltoid, the beefy part of my shoulder. And the other thing is, as I roll backwards and downwards, as my shoulder goes backwards and downwards, so too will the back of my head come backwards and downwards. So if I was to be able to roll all the way to the floor till the shoulder touched the floor, I have to move my hips for that, then my head would touch the floor at the same time. So just be aware of that. We are going to keep the hips and legs nice and still. So after I've guided the head for a couple of repetitions, I'm going to straighten this arm out and have length through my fingertips. And I'm going to breathe in as the arm comes up to vertical, breathe out as I roll backwards. And I can still support the head with this other hand if I wish. My head's quite close to the mat now, probably only the width of my hand away. And I can hold it here if I want. I can actually also add rotations of my humerus, my upper arm bone, inside that shoulder joint. And I'll breathe in as I come back to vertical and breathe out as I come back to the floor. Now that's a nice high 90-degree arc. I can also do the more 45 or the star jumpy arc, where I'm going a bit more overhead, and each of those two arcs will stretch out a different part of your chest. You've got two heads to your pectoralis major, your chest muscle, and one head gets a better stretch this way, one gets a better stretch here. My preference though is I like to circle the arm, and again, we breathe in, we breathe out as the limb moves behind the body, breathe in as you come back to vertical, and breathe out as you come back to the floor. You'll do several in one direction. You might be doing your rotations at the same time. And then, of course, you change directions. So just keeping your body nice and still. Excellent postural exercise. As I mentioned, we're still going to maintain that same thoracic rotation, that rotation of the rib cage, whilst we add the release across the front of the shoulder and chest. And we can always hold the end of any one of those angles where you go, oh, I feel a bit tight and stiff, probably more through this region. You can hold it for as long as you like, a couple of deep in and out breaths, and then once again, we breathe in as we come back to vertical and breathe out as we go to the floor. So that is chest release. Excellent exercise, as I said, for your posture.